Hey guys, so first of all, huge thanks for being here, despite not being a technical guy. I'll get to why the fuck am I here a bit later on, but well, let's get cracking, right? Like, why the hell am I here and who am I? Let's just figure out the first kinks of the... brilliant. So my name is Petr Buchbauer and I've come here from the company Lundegard. Despite all the facts that you can see here, I'm a Czech-born, Czech native, right? And there's my dog right over there. And I'm a CEO of a mid-sized IT service provider. There's about like 100 of us, blah, blah, blah. And the reason why I'm here is to talk to you about burning out and how to prevent burning out, right? Because I am a CEO, which is a very boring job and very stressful job. And I became CEO only on, like, despite being in the IT sector for, I don't know, 8-9 years, something like that. And trust me, when I was 25 years old, I made a huge life-changing, decision to get into IT. And I had absolutely zero idea what commit is, like what's the difference between SVN or Git. It was complete gibberish to me, right? And a couple of years later, I found myself actually like deploying stuff into production, via retarded VPNs from Poland to France, blah, blah, blah. And right now I'm running a company of 100, head strong people, which is amazing. But you can also think that it is very demanding, right? So what I want to show you is how you can battle burning out, how you can prevent burning out, how you can utilize stress for your benefits, because I love stress. I mean, I hate it, don't get me wrong, I'm under stress all the time, but I've sort of learned my way how to utilize it in my own favor, how to be more productive, how to sort of shorten the path from a junior project manager to a guy running a company, and also to give you hints on how to keep, or what signals to keep an eye out on. Because myself, I honestly have been through a couple of breakdowns. I've had even like physical breakdowns, mental breakdowns, stuff like that. So what can I do for you is to tell you how not to get there and which protocols I personally use nowadays to, be okay and all that crap. Anyway, so the difference between stress and burning out. How to utilize stress? Well, the thing is, as with every single project, right? My background is project management, right? So whenever I kick off a project, I want to get on the same level. What phrases we use, what's going to be the naming conventions, what terms are we going to use? So stress versus burning out. Stress is a state of, let's say, alleviated workload and some sort of demand from oneself, whereas burning out is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. Right, so that's basically like the final stage. You become burned out once you are under a lot of stress for a prolonged period of time that you cannot handle anymore. So when we are burnt out, we fall into a state of apathy, of complete disconnection from the outer world. We don't care about the work, but it's not just about the work, but it's also about our personal lives, right? The thing is that when you are burnt out from work, it impacts your personal life, and that's what really sucks, right? I mean, work ultimately is for us there to make money, let's be honest, and sort of, do something, have some sort of impact, but our personal lives is what should matter to us the most. If this, if the stress of the prolonged stress sort of spills over to your personal life, the worst part that can happen is for you to have any sort of psychosomatic impacts, meaning that your mental issues and your psychological problems can manifest in physical issues. right? So you can be sick, you can have migraines, you can have digestive problems, or anything more serious with such cause. So while burning out is a state where you just can't handle the stress anymore, that doesn't mean the stress is not good for you. If you can dose yourself with the stress, if you can dose the pockets of, let's say, higher intensity workload, it can work for you. Because, most of us, well, we all went to high school, for sure. Most of us went to the university, right? And let's be honest, who made who has done your assignments, like, right on the spot, like 3 days prior to the, to the deadline? Like, I'm not going to say no one, but vast majority of us would submit the papers like 5 minutes before, right? And do you know why? Because we actually enjoy being under stress. It helps us. It helps our efficiency, our effectivity, and that's the stress we like to induce on ourselves, right? So once you actually learn how to master it, once you make it work for you, it's good. But, layman's terms, stress is having too much of stuff, burning out is having too little. Too much of stress, too much of workload, too much of assignments, whereas having too little energy, too little excitement, too little, joie de vivre and stuff like that. So that's the stress versus burning out. What adds up to our stress is not that just the assignments and the stuff that we sort of put onto ourselves, but it's sort of the external factors. For example, reduced control over own results. Meaning, so to put this into, let's say, developer, sort of world, and please, again, I'm a manager, so I have no clue what you guys, and especially JavaScript is complete, like, Chinese to me. I'm really sorry. I can understand some Java, and my specialty is like DevOps, because, that's like black boxes talking to each other, so you don't need to understand shit, but you just need to sort of make it work. So once you have, let's say, the CI/CD pipelines are blocking, your commits to actually make it to production, you have to wait for the DevOps guy to fix the CI/CD, but it's your freaking task that you want to deliver. You are losing the control of the result because you're waiting for someone else. You need someone else to, help you finish your task. As this sort of piles up, that's what adds to our stress for sure. Obviously, overload of work and tasks, especially managers or product managers especially, that have absolutely zero clue what's happening, and constant feeling of being overwhelmed. Lack of appreciation, not financial, but someone who's not just telling you, good job, but who actually means it, who actually understands what sort of like workload was behind that. And it's not just the external factors, it's again the stuff that we sort of induce on ourselves. It can be the extensive perfectionism, because if you hate making any sort of errors, you always blame yourself for making those errors. You overthink stuff, and then you sort of spiral into, well, what should I be on a work outlook next time? I really cannot make this mistake and stuff like that. And one of my favorites is the seasons of the year. I myself am a huge, let's say, a huge patient affected by the seasonal affective disorder. I really hate winter. And I cannot work when there is no sunlight. And for fuck's sake, now it's February, so it's finally looking up, let's be honest. But January, it's been 4 months of just grey outside, no sunlight. You really don't want to go outside, especially nowadays because there's no snow, there's just rain all the time, right? I have a dog, even here with me, right? I love taking walks with my dog, and I can't do that because even the dog doesn't want to go outside. God forbid myself, right? So seasonal affective disorder is a huge thing, especially for myself. And obviously, we all have our own issues and stuff like that. So how can you prevent this? What can you do about this? Obviously, with the ridiculous managers, it's just about the boundaries and saying no. That's pretty self-explanatory. But one thing that we tend to forget is the healthy breaks from work. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just, going on vacation, but also throughout the day. That's why I also love my dog, right? Because for me, for one, it's an amazing excuse to end a meeting early, because I'll just tell the guys, sorry guys, you can finish this off without me, I need to walk my dog. And just fuck off for the last 15 minutes. And also, the dog himself makes me go outside the office every 2 hours for at least like 10-minute walk. I used to be an avid smoker back in the day, fortunately enough, like 2 years without any cigarette. But this has been an amazing substitution, for the cigarette smokes. Those of you who don't smoke, you really do not understand how amazing a smoke break is. Like having those 5 to 10 minutes just for yourself. So those healthy breaks make a huge, difference. Obviously, countering the perfectionism, have the right expectations from yourself, monitor your workload. Yes, that's pretty obvious. But again, one of my favorites, learn to be bored. Because creativity comes from boredom. If you can't get bored, we are constantly online. Especially like the people in IT, like we work on our computers, we play games on our computers, we are incessantly connected on our phones, whatever, if it's iPhone, Android, nobody gives a shit. You go home, I myself, I just jack up a PlayStation, you're still online with the guys, you talk to each other. We are constantly online, we are constantly doing something. A very few of us, who likes to go fishing, for example? Who loves to go and sit and look on water for 2 hours and pray for a fish to catch?
I would love to, but I have never been to.
Exactly. Like, we watch movies, we need to be entertained, right? We don't get bored, we can't get bored for some reason. Learn to do that, it's amazing. I'll get to that later. And obviously, if you are in an issue, you have a problem, always look on the bright side. Like, try to position it, how can I learn from that? Because we all experience very difficult situations on a daily basis. Take it as a learning experience. Like, how can I benefit from that? I mean, it's a shitty situation anyway, even if I want it to be or not. Might as well try to, learn from something from that. And obviously ask for help if it's too much for you. Ask from your colleagues, ask help from your colleagues, your friends, your family, whatever, or even like professional support. So, the signals. I'm really sorry, I need to take a small break. So, be on the lookout for these signals, and that's the most important thing. Try to be as objective as you can. I mean, it's ridiculously difficult, right? Because we are all subjective. I mean, we are assessing ourselves. So, by definition, there's very, very little objectivity in there. Anyway, look out for sleep disturbances, like lack of appetite, and listen to your body itself. Myself, I have very bad sleep, honestly. I wake up every 2 or 3 hours by default, and it just sucks. I have a lot of sleep issues, right? But I can see myself waking up and falling asleep, immediately, which is regular stuff. But if I'm under a lot of stress, I can't fall asleep again. So that's the difference for me. It's not the sleep disturbance itself. It's when I cannot fall asleep again. That's the warning signal for me. Again, like frequency of negative thoughts. It's like the lack of enthusiasm for things. It's the lack of wanting to see people. I mean, obviously, for right now, if you guys are here, you don't have a problem with that. But if you at least want to go out to see people, which is amazing. But it happens sometimes that you just feel blue. You don't want to really go out. Feel lost. You feel reluctance to look for a way out. That's a huge warning sign, obviously. And I'm going to skip this one. But this is amazing. And I also love that, over the course of time, I mean, I've been in IT for 8 years, don't get me wrong, but still within those 8 years, I've participated in over 180 projects already. And let's say decent 60 of them was taking a solution after a previous vendor or something. And I always see, the code or something. I say, how can this person go back home and say, God, I'm so proud of myself for this, commit or for this pull request. If you don't get me wrong, don't be self-absorbed. but at least be proud of what you do. If you don't have that feeling of enjoyment of your work, well, that's a huge signal that you should be on the lookout for. And obviously, as I was saying, the aversion to personal life, but thankfully, that's not your issue over here because we are here together. The thing is that, like, why, not just for myself, but overall, this is happening to be a huge topic for at least, is that we have to realize one thing. All of us, we're working in an economy that's built on knowledge and, you know, teaching, learning, getting new stuff done. And let's be honest, the speed at which we need to learn new stuff is, well, I don't want to say exponentially, but it's just increasing, right? The rate at which we need to learn new things is still increasing. Be it linear, be it exponential, nobody gives a shit. But it's still, the thing is that this concept is only a few decades long, old. We have to realize that, like, imagine 100 years ago, I mean, what is this year? 2024, right? So imagine being in 1924, explaining to a person in 1924 that you can fly out to fucking Bali and work from another world, you know, another continent even, look into a weird book-like shaped thing and communicate with whomever. Like, the thing is that not just our minds, I mean, you know, that's like evolution stuff, but not even our society, our education system, they are all catching up to the business side of things, right? The business is driving the societal change, and the remainder of the system is sort of catching up. So we also are catching up in the sense of learning the new protocols, learning the new, let's say, skills, how to battle the ever-going change, and that's the way it's going to be. There's no way how we can expect the system to be actually one step further. Never going to happen. Plus, furthermore, over the past 4 years, I don't want to get into the COVID stuff, but the thing is that the work-life integration overall has been at its highest in the past, let's say, history of our society. Right? You can work from home, you can work from Bali, you can work from wherever. You can work at 6 in the morning, or 2 in the morning, or 3 p.m. If you're working in IT, most of us are task-oriented. Let's be honest about that. Right? We don't have to be from 9 to 5 if we are not working for, let's say, Moneta, which is like Tomáš Sporný, obviously, but it's a completely different case. I mean, it's a different setup, but most of us, we have the benefit of working from wherever, whenever we want, which is on one hand amazing, but on the other, it can have its impact on our mental well-being. So what protocols I personally use, because ultimately it's not about the theory, it's about sharing with you like what the 33-year-old CEO needs to go through to sort of handle his shit. Anyway, I really love professional coaching. And I also love therapy, don't get me wrong, like my therapist is the best guy in the world. Plus I was really fortunate to actually find a therapist who is an ex-board member of one of our biggest insurance companies, right? So like a top manager who just said after 5 years, well, fuck this shit, I'm going to do something nice for the world, and became a therapist. Awesome. Just stop robbing people from, and like scaring them to hell, because I'm a member of an insurance company, which ultimately deals with just scaring people shitless to sell them insurance. But also that, it's amazing. For myself, like these protocols, and also sort of like handling my professional life, which is with the coach, and my personal life, which is with the therapist, is brilliant. And it's also, it really helps me like balance things out. Also, like my breaks, as I told you, take breaks even throughout the day, dog walking. Fortunately enough, our company is dog friendly, so that fluff piece over there keeps me company every single day. And for myself, as I told you, hopefully at least like 2 or 3 walks throughout the day, throughout the 8 or 10 hour shift, and usually like 5 to 6. Myself, I love reading paper books. I hate Kindle. I hate iPad, I hate anything that is online for book reading. That's my time. There's no notifications, there's no way of getting online. It's just the smell of the book, it's amazing. Also a positive perspective, as I told you, I mean, I'm sort of set as a problem solver. I mean, that's, I guess, beneficial when I'm running a company. But the thing is that when there is a benefit for myself, somehow, when I learn something new, it's still joyful. It's, you know, it can be a very difficult talk with one of your colleagues. Imagine a situation when you know that someone is going to quit from your company, and you need to face that like upfront. You need to face the fact that somebody is leaving you, which really sucks. I mean, there's only 100 of us, right? I mean, I'm not a CEO of like a huge corporation where people will be just numbers for you, right? You know every single guy personally, guy or girl, personally. So it really sucks. But then again, you also always can sort of feel, well, ultimately it's a good thing because it's a new chapter for you, you know, for both of you. I mean, it's going to suck because you need to sort of fill in the gap. But then again, it's going to be amazing to see this guy or girl grow in a completely new environment. So that's one thing that, you know, keep me sane. And what I do also is that despite being sort of piled up on the things that my company needs from myself, I also create tasks just for myself. I need to complete something that I want to complete. I know it costs me time, I know it costs me energy, like extra energy, but without these things, you know, without getting like a new CI/CD pipeline that I just have created, I know that everybody's going to say it's shit and, you know, they're just going to like throw it away. I don't care. Because it's something I've done for myself, and I know that it's going to help someone for like 5 or 10 minutes. That's good enough. You know, finally, it's still a job. Let's be honest. You know, this is coming from like the highest management of our company. This is really shitty translation. Sorry, I didn't really check that one. But ultimately, we are not surgeons, right? We don't operate on hearts. Our work does not mean that people would die. Let's be honest about that. I mean, companies would lose money. You know, so look on the bright side. It doesn't really, it's not really that difficult. So what can you take away from this ultimately? And I think my time is up anyway, which is awesome. I wanted to time management, like just, you know, 3 minutes overdue, which still is good for IT project. So. Anyway, just like five takeaways, because I want to keep it simple for you guys. Keep clear boundaries, obviously. Any self-help book can tell you that, not just this blonde dude. Regular physical activity is amazing. I mean, I haven't really run for like 3 months, but I love running. I love taking a walk with a dog, and I can't really recommend that more. Maintain and develop working relationships and also relationships outside of work, which will help you sort of, you know, just discuss shit. I mean, we all need to sort of like wind up, we just need to bitch about stuff, and it's just so amazing to do that. Have good working conditions and don't neglect rest and mental well-being. So, yeah, that's basically it. I thank you for your attention, especially for my, you know, managementship. Thank you very much. You've been a very lovely audience, and I'll pass the word. Or if you have any questions, maybe, I don't know.
Yes, I have a question.
Please.
As a person who operates a company, how do you see if some of your employees has burnout symptoms, and what do you do then?
You'd be surprised, once you go through this, you can notice it very easily on this, right? And I would dare to go as far as to say that I can see a person quitting the company like 2 months before he or she does. Because, I mean, there's only 100 of us, again, as I said, right? You can see the symptoms, you can see the signals. So what I do to prevent that, or not prevent that, don't get me wrong, sometimes it's just like overdue. You just talk to the people. It's just about sharing what's bothering you, right? And the thing is that you need to have the counterpart that understands you, that understands what pains you, and that is able to pinpoint, let's say, the easiest stuff to be addressed. Because, as I said, burning out is feeling overwhelmed for way too long. which also means that you don't really see where does it end. Like, just to give you an idea, back like 2 or 3 years ago, right, I would have months where I would work over 10 hours a day, even throughout the weekends, meaning like 14 hours a day throughout the week, 10 hours a day over the weekend. But I knew that it's going to last only for 3 or 4 months, because I knew that there was a deadline, and that's how you can survive that. If you do that, you don't need to put in like ridiculous hours. You can go in for 8 hours, but for 8 hours of shit work. And if you don't see the way out, then you're done. But if you find someone who understands and sees like what struggles you have, and even catches the slightest, glimpse of addressing those issues. Let's say, well, once you finish this, you don't really need to, keep on doing that, or we can just hire someone, and within 2 months you'll be able to get rid of that agenda or something like that. That's what I do against that. I mean, that's basically the only thing I can do, honestly. Just talk to people and, address the possible staffing issues, right? But then again, what really helps me with this is the size of the company, because honestly, I used to be like a portfolio manager, so basically I have, despite it's sometimes, killing me, I still have a very good overview of who is doing what, at which project, for which client, for how long, and blah, 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 all that jazz, right? So having that knowledge really helps me pinpointing these possible problems for people. I hope that answers your question.
It was very broad.
I love listening to myself. Sorry. But yeah, honestly, to give you a very short answer, what I can do about that is just take the person, talk him or her through her problems, see if there is anything that can be easily managed by a manager, because ultimately, there's a limited scope of agenda that I can address. But if you at least give them hope that something is going to get addressed, that's your way in. A shorter answer, I hope.
Why do you need professional help and cannot solve this burnout avoidance by yourself?
I did need the help because I didn't have the protocols or the skill set myself. The thing is that I'm a huge workaholic, right? So I take pride and I love working. So that's why I need the professional help. I need someone to help me pinpoint why I work so heavily and hardly, and how does it impact my life, right? Because I've had some issues even in my personal life, which I thought were caused by my work life. But the thing is that, having a different perspective sometimes, not all the time, actually helps you see the, things can be actually the other way around that you perceive them. And that's why it really helps me. And it also really helped me, I must say, the weirdest thing, and I'm not sure, like, Philip, just tell me when to shut up when you guys are like, I'm not running the clock over here, so I can be here talking to you all the time. Anyway, the funniest thing happened is that with having the professional help for my, let's say, personal issues and personal life, it helped me empathize, even on the professional level, much better. So, despite having the skill set and the knowledge how to talk to people, even, my friends, my family, blah, 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 this has actually accentuated my understanding of my colleagues, my pinpointing of their personal needs and stuff like that. And I hope it has made me a better manager and also a better salesperson. Because ultimately, and this is something that you need to realize, once you master these skills, they are part of your spectrum of your, communication, let's say, repertoire, right? And I'm a salesperson, I'm a CEO, I need to do the, big business, I need to bring in the big bucks, and having this at hand just is awesome. Thanks for talk. Thanks, guys.